50,000 years ago, on the shore of a lake in what is now northern Tanzania, a newborn lies pressed against his mother's chest, 3 feet from a fire burning low into embers. Somewhere past the firelight, something is moving through the grass. Neither the mother nor the infant is fully asleep. Neither of them ever really is. For most of human history, keeping a baby safe through the night wasn't a matter of walls or weapons. It was a matter of never actually being unconscious alone. Night was not a neutral backdrop for early humans. It was the single most dangerous stretch of the day. David Samson, an evolutionary anthropologist at the University of Toronto, Mississauga, has spent his career studying what he calls the social sleep hypothesis, published in the Annual Review of Anthropology in 2021. His argument starts with a real loss. Somewhere around 2 million years ago, human ancestors abandoned the relative safety of sleeping in trees for the ground below. That decision traded one danger for another. On the forest floor, an infant's cry didn't just carry to the people who loved it. It carried to everything else that was hungry. So what did early humans actually build to manage that risk? The obvious answer is fire, and for a while, the evidence backs that up. In 2017, Samson worked with anthropologist Alyssa Crittenden of the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, along with researchers Ibrahim Mabula and Audax Mabula, publishing a study in the Journal of Human Evolution on sleep among the Hadza, a hunter-gatherer community near Tanzania's Lake Eyasi. Fire was present on 295 of 436 recorded nights, 67%. But when the team measured its actual effect on sleep quality, fire turned out to be a wash. It provided light and warmth, but its benefits and costs seemed to cancel out. It wasn't nothing. It also wasn't the answer. Shelter wasn't the answer either. Hadza sleeping structures are domed huts built from grass and bent branches, enough to cut wind and rain, nothing that could stop a determined predator. A wall of woven grass keeps out weather. It does not keep out teeth. That ruled out two assumptions. It left the hardest one standing. Could a single exhausted mother really be the entire alarm system for 8 hours a night, every night? For years. Physically, she came close. James McKenna, a biological anthropologist at the University of Notre Dame, and Crittenden published a 2018 study in the journal Sleep Health using actigraph monitors on 33 Hadza adults. Mothers and infants slept in near constant physical contact, a practice McKenna calls breathe-sleeping. His research found that a co-sleeping mother's body produces small, repeated arousals in her infant throughout the night, effectively giving the baby practice at rousing itself, a skill linked to resisting suffocation. The infant was never sleeping in a separate room behind a door, out of reach. It was sleeping against a body that flinched at the smallest change in its breathing. Convenient, if you consider getting almost no uninterrupted sleep for the first year of a child's life. Convenient. That solved the alarm system for one pair of ears. It didn't explain who else was listening. Sarah Blaffer Hrdy, a primatologist and professor emerita at the University of California, Davis, laid out the wider picture in her 2009 book, Mothers and Others, published by Harvard University Press. Human infants, she argues, evolved as cooperative breeding offspring, dependent not on one caregiver, but on a rotating cast of them, older siblings, grandmothers, aunts, unrelated adults in camp. A crying infant isn't just built to reach its mother. It's built to be almost impossible for anyone nearby to ignore. Hrdy calls this a sensory trap, a signal engineered by evolution to hijack the attention of any adult within earshot, not just the one who gave birth. So if it wasn't the fire, and it wasn't the walls, and it wasn't one mother standing guard alone, what was actually watching the camp at 3 in the morning? The answer came from the same Hadza data, published by Samson, Crittenden, Ibrahim Mabula, Audax Mabula, and Charles Nunn in Proceedings of the Royal Society B in July 2017. Over 20 nights of actigraphy monitoring, across more than 220 total hours of nighttime observation, there was a moment researchers didn't expect. The entire group was recorded as simultaneously asleep for a grand total of 18 minutes. Not 18 minutes a night. 18 minutes across the whole study. At any given point, a median of 8 people were awake or in light, easily broken sleep, and someone was in that state during 99. 8% of the observed nighttime window, no one was assigned to guard duty, no one volunteered. The vigilance came from something built into the group itself. Chronotype, the biological tendency toward earlier or later sleep, shifts predictably with age. Teenagers drift toward late nights, elders wake early. As one generation sinks into its deepest sleep, another is already stirring. The infant wasn't protected by any single technology. It was protected by the fact that the camp as a biological unit was never fully unconscious. A night watch nobody had to organize, running on nothing but the ordinary math of different ages needing different amounts of sleep. A baby monitor sits on a nightstand today, doing by itself the job that once took a fire, a mother's skin, and roughly 11 other people whose sleep schedules never quite lined up.